Okay, welcome to another Orbiter 2010 video. This is going to be a fly with me style video, and again, I'm not going to necessarily explain things in excruciating detail. I'm just going to jump in and go for it. What I'm going to do in this video is I'm going to do an Earth-Moon free return, and then when I come back to Earth, I'm going to use the Earth as a brake to slow down my vessel and get back into orbit. So I've already got a Earth to Moon free return video where I explain how to set this up, so I'll provide a link to that in the description down below. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and go through, do what I need to do to get this set up. Select Moon, VW over to Maneuver, turn Maneuver Mode on, put in the normal amount of prograde to get out to the Moon. Do an adjustment there, and that should be good. Go to the date, and we'll swing the date around like so. We need to bring up encounter view on this side, go to a finer setting here, and I need to dial this in until my orbit is retrograde like that. Got an inclination of about 170, which is close to 180. That's what I need. Go forward on this side, and we need to escape so we can set up the sling. Go forward, that turns the plan into a slingshot. Come over here to sling direct, go to the outward angle, bring that all the way down to about negative 145, give or take, and we'll go with that for now. And back over here on this side, go to the maneuver variables and do an adjustment on the prograde so I can dial this PE ratio into what I need. Do an adjustment, and I've got the PE ratio at about 1 now. That's what I need. But I have to check my focus PED, and that's still pretty high. So let's make an adjustment to fix that. Back on this side, we'll go to the maneuver view, and I'm going to bring this, looks like I need to go positive. I'm sorry, I'm going the wrong way. No, I am going the right way. Down to about 6,000. About right there should do it. And let's see. Go forward. And I need to make an adjustment on the PE ratio again now that I've got the focus PED where I need it. Make an adjustment. Make an adjustment. Adjustment, and there is the PE ratio back to 1. And finally, last variable, do just a minimal amount of plane change to get the relative inclination all the way to 0 or close to it. Do an adjustment, and adjustment. Okay, there we go, we got it. Now, take a look here, got a focus PED, back where we need it, and we're going to be coming around the Moon a little high, that's okay. For this purpose, it's okay. Bring up the target view, warp time ahead to the time to burn. Getting in close. Okay, back to real time, prograde. Back to real time, turn off prograde.
Rotation.
Rotate the green X to the middle. Okay, we'll go with that. Now accelerate time a little bit to get closer to the time to begin the burn. Getting pretty close. One final refinement on the green X. Got it. Burning in 5 seconds. And burning. Press T one time to warp time ahead through the burn. Back to real time, line up the green X. Back off the main engines a little bit. Back off the main engines a lot. Okay, we're almost done with the burn.
Translation.
Get the rest of it with translation. Okay, now we'll go to the maneuver view, turn maneuver mode off, and I need to check in stage 2 how my PE ratio is looking. You can see it's close, but it's a little off. So I will rotate back to prograde position here, and with just a little bit of translation, should be able to get that PE ratio back to 1. There it is, and if I use maybe a little bit of up and down, I can get my relative inclination a little bit lower as well. And there we have it. Looking good. So now let's scale rotation. And warp time ahead to head out to the moon. And go to the global frame. Go 1000x. Goodbye Earth. And go to 10,000. And switch the view over to the moon. And we'll go down 1,000 until we get around the moon. Although I will stop for a second back here, just for something that I noticed the other day is kind of cool. If you go to the virtual cockpit view, and I'm trying to remember what the key is. There we are. If you kind of tilt your head and look out this way,
rotation.
And if we rotate the vessel, Maybe zoom out a little bit. You can kind of imagine yourself as a space tourist, and that's what your view would be like. Maybe go to 10x acceleration just to see yourself coming around the moon. Looking outside, that'd be a pretty cool sight, wouldn't it? Okay, enough space tour stuff. Let's switch back over to this view real quick. And let me check where I'm at. Okay. Not quite to periapsis yet. Warp time ahead till I get to periapsis. Okay. Take a look outside. Get the camera rotated correctly. Now what I need to do is just quickly make sure I'm actually going to get back to Earth and hit the atmosphere. Transx isn't very reliable for this. It says here my focus PED is 8,280 kilometers above the center of the Earth. If I do one quick thing though, if I go back to this stage, because you can see this has drifted a bit. Come over here to the view slingshot.
Translation.
Do a bit of translation to correct that. Actually, it'll be faster if I do it this way. If I rotate plus 90 degrees. Do just a little bit of a burn here to get that PE ratio back to 1, which just gets us on target with our plan.
Translation.
And there we have it. Now I can look at stage 3. And stage 3 says that my focus periapsis is 7,230 kilometers above the center of the Earth, which is still it's almost 1,000 kilometers above the surface, which is too high. Nevertheless, I know this is somewhat inaccurate, so I want to check this information in interplanetary MFD. We'll reference the Earth. And it's not displaying my PEA yet. I need to go forward a little more. And now I've got the PEA showing. So what I'm going to do here
Rotation. Translation.
is just a little bit of translation to bring the PEA down. And let's say that we want 60 kilometers. Go with that. And you can see that according to interplanetary MFD, my PEA is 60 kilometers, but according to Transx, my PEA is like 700 kilometers. I really wish this MFD was more accurate for this purpose, but it simply is not accurate. And if we look at this stage, it still shows that our PE ratio is very accurate. Alright, so let me grab my joystick here. And then we're going to warp time ahead to get back to Earth.
Rotation.
And we're almost home. And we're getting pretty close. Let's jump back in the cockpit. And we're at 800 kilometers. Let's go prograde real quick. And now turn off the prograde autopilot. And I want to rotate upside down. Turn on this surface HUD. I don't need that MFD anymore. I'm at 500 kilometers. Go ahead and warp time ahead till I get down into the atmosphere. Okay, we'll be getting atmospheric drag here shortly. And make sure I have surface controls turned on. Okay, I do. Turn off RCS mode. Okay. And we'll have steering here available in just a moment. And the key here will be, the key to not burning up will be to make sure that we stay high enough in the atmosphere to not overheat. In fact, let me bring up the free stream temperature, although I don't entirely know how to read it, but it'll be interesting to watch nevertheless. But at any rate, stay high enough in the atmosphere to not overheat, but low enough that we don't skip back out. And need to get in a little more before I'll be able to control the vessel. More time ahead. Okay. I should have a little bit of steering now. I wish I could have a external MFD that would show like this view. Trying to find a good camera angle. Maybe like that. So I'm watching my vertical speed here, negative 700 meters a second. It's okay for now. I want that to be closer to 0 once I get down to 65 kilometers or so. Let me get down a little lower. There we go, now I have some control. Probably not much in the way of realism here, but it's fun. See my vertical speed here, getting closer to 0, still descending into the atmosphere, which is what I want, but I want to be able to control my descent, so that's why I want my vertical speed to be close to 0. We're heating up pretty pretty well there. Getting a lot of atmospheric drag, so you can see our apoapsis quickly coming down. Something else we can do is press Control B, extend the air brake. It'll slow us down even faster. That's this here. Keeping an eye on the vertical speed. Just kind of hang out right here at 58 kilometers or so. Getting plenty of atmospheric drag. And something else I can do so I don't have to work with the so I don't have to tilt joystick so much is just use a little bit of elevator trim. And you can see the vertical speed now getting back into the negative. And then I can just tap the elevator trim a little bit. Keep myself right there around 0 meters per second plus or minus until I slow down. And you can see my orbit becoming more and more circular by the moment. Eccentricity coming down, apoapsis coming down. Tap the elevator trim a little bit to keep the vertical speed from dropping. And you can see our speeds come down quite a bit already. Take a look at map MFD to see where we're at. We're right here over Central Africa. Tap the elevator trim a little bit. Bump the elevator trim again. You can see I'm getting down to 56 kilometers. I can see my heat increasing. I don't know exactly what the limit is on this vessel, and it doesn't give you any kind of warnings. You just suddenly die. It doesn't tell you. So I'm just going to try to get myself back up to about 57 kilometers. Maybe cool off a little bit. See, the eccentricity is coming along pretty well. Apoapsis is way down. I think it started at 300 kilometers or something. Bump the elevator trim a little bit again. Now, as I slow down, I can, of course, get a little bit lower into the atmosphere, but even so, since I don't know what the upper limit is on the temperature, I don't want to get too low. So now we're climbing just a little bit. So that means obviously we'll cool off because there won't be quite as much atmospheric drag. And here shortly, I will have a stable normal orbit at, 200 or 300 kilometers. Temperature's coming down. Apoapsis, 3,800 kilometers. I think we've slowed down by over 2,000 meters a second already. Just a little bit more to go. We're down to 2,600 kilometers. Almost back down to orbital velocity. Alright, now what I need to do, go ahead and close the aero brake, or the air brake. And I'm going to set the elevator trim back to normal. And I'm going to roll heads up. And I'm just going to fly this last little bit this way. That way, as soon as my apoapsis gets where I want, I can pitch up steeply and prevent it from dropping down any lower. Okay, apoapsis is down to 1,000 kilometers and dropping. Let's shoot for a nice normal orbital altitude of about 200 kilometers. Let's see how close to 200 kilometers we can get. And I'll have to pitch up before I get to 200 kilometers because I'll continue losing velocity until I get back up to 90 kilometers or so. Just purely guesswork here on my part, but I'm just going to start slowly pitching up now. And now we're slowing down a bit too much because the PEA is starting to drop. But I still want the apoapsis to come down. Okay, and go ahead and close out the flight data monitor. I'm getting a bit too high in the atmosphere now, and my vertical speed is too high for me to get it back down, so I think my apoapsis, I'm not going to be able to get it down to 200 kilometers like I wanted. But even so, it's still a pretty good orbital height. Actually, at this point, I might just turn on rotation. What is it, this one? One of my buttons. I don't remember.
Rotation.
If I flatten the vessel out this way, get a little bit more atmospheric drag for the last few seconds that I'm still kind of in the atmosphere. Like this. Give me a little bit of braking on the other side. Oh, it's about as good as it's going to get. So then what I would do is just warp time ahead to... Why am I spinning all over the place? To apoapsis. Like that. And then circularize the orbit. And there we have it. So we went from the Earth to the Moon on a free return, came back to the Earth, used the Earth as a brake, or rather used the atmosphere as a brake, so it didn't cost us any fuel at all to slow down, and then we used just a dash of fuel to circularize the orbit. So that's all I wanted to do in this video, just have a little bit of fun. So that's the end. Hope you enjoyed it.